Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Healing Corner. Welcome to the Holistic Perspective radio talk show. Um, I am Dr. Barbara Samaru, and I am owner of the Healing Corner. And I like to look at people in a holistic way. We look at health on a spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical level. And because we have to understand that our issues are tied to our tissues and our feelings buried alive never die. And so when we go through life, even from the time we were in our mother's womb, whatever she was going through, a lot of frequencies, a lot of things were passed to us. So when we come into the world, we already come in with other people's baggage, and then we add on to our own. And if we never deal with these issues, um, it becomes by the time we're 40 and 50s, it shows up in the form of disease. Tonight, we're going to talk about some things for stress and how does that work. This past Wednesday, I was on my Zoom call with my BAM team, BAM, standing for Barbara, Avis, and Melissa. We're a team, and we've been doing Zoom calls since COVID started back for almost 2 years, and have reached a lot of people, helped a lot of people overcome a lot of things, and it's just growing. And this past Wednesday, Avis was presenting about chakras. So chakras are the energy centers of our body, and I was explaining to people to look at those centers all the way down the spine as like circuit breakers. And in the different areas that are all the organs and systems are connected to those energy centers. So tonight we're going to talk pretty much about the solar plexus center, in the energy center where it deals with the adrenal glands and things like that. But before we start, and I'll bring up the PowerPoint presentation before we start, I never start any talk or anything without inviting Holy Spirit to come in and have his way, because this is not about me. This is about him. It's a ministry that he has called me to help people and to share the knowledge that he's allowed me to have. So just come in prayer and agreement with me tonight. Father God, I come to you tonight in the mighty, matchless name, Lord Jesus. I come giving you all the praise and the glory and the honor, because you are in charge of all. You're the answer to us, to everything, all of our situations, all of our problems. And God, I ask that everyone that comes in tonight, in the sound of my voice, God, that you would touch them where they are, that you would touch and heal them from the crown of their heads to the sole of their feet. And God, that whatever pain or emotional issues or trauma that they've been through, God, oh God, Holy Spirit, I ask that you just wrap your arms around them and let them know that there is an answer. You are the answer, but you also give us principles to live by, and that without doing the work, we can't see the manifestation. So God, I ask you to pour out your spirit tonight during this talk, that they would walk away knowing more than when they came in, and they would feel free, and they would feel that there's an answer, that there's a light at the end of the dark tunnel. So God, I give you praise and glory tonight in Jesus' mighty name. Again, so tonight, my information is not coming across the screen. I was in a little rush this evening trying to get in here. So I want to give you some information tonight. So please write this down if you can. My phone number to the Healing Corner is 240-695-6677. And I want you to feel free during this show to give me a call in to ask questions. I'm probably going to give that opportunity probably in the next 30 minutes or so to ask some questions. I like to interact with with people. I like to, I like to know that people are hearing what I'm saying and maybe have a question. There's no question that is dumb at all. There's no, because if you ask a question, probably other people want to ask it as well. Might be something somebody's going through. So I want to be able to answer any type of questions that you have regarding what the subject we're talking about tonight. Again, my number is 240 695 6677. And if you share my website, Dr. B, as in Barbara, healingcorner.com, and share that to your friends, they will be able to go on to the website and actually click on the show every Friday night. So blessed that I was able to have that done. So it's kind of easy. Just go to the website, scroll down, and you'll see the Health Talk, the Holistic Perspective for the Caribbean. And also, my Zoom link is on there as well. And that is one Wednesday every month that I do that. So I will try to get all the events set up on the website so you'll have information that you can share with people as well. Please share this information because we don't know. And the Bible even says that my people perish from lack of knowledge. And so not having knowledge doesn't mean that we're going to be okay, that we're not responsible for finding the answers, right? So it's very, very important that we understand that we have to take our health very seriously, and we are responsible for it. God gave us this body. He made it in such a beautiful way. It has the amazing ability to heal itself. That's how He made us. The cells regenerate. Every 90 days, we get new blood. And every 11 months, we get new organs. And every 2 years, we get new bones. But as we're getting these new cells, as they are regenerating, how are they regenerating? What fuel are we putting in to help build them up and make them healthier? Are we, doing the same thing over and over? Well, what happens when we do that and we're not doing the right things, then the cells get weaker. So they're producing, but they're producing with what they have at a very weak state. So that's how it's not growing old that makes us sick. It's getting sick that makes us old. I want you to understand that tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint here. Give me 1 second here. Yes, here we are. Let me bring up my part so we could go through. So we're going to talk about stress and the adrenal glands tonight, and different ways and how we're going to, and dealing with the solar plexus, all of that. So just get ready for some great information. I will tell you this: if you'd like to take a picture of the screen, that's fine. Write down anything that sticks out to you. I cannot send out any PowerPoint to anybody. I can't do any of that. But if you want to take a picture, you're fine. And you want to call me about some things later, that's awesome as well. Okay. So relax versus stress. Okay. Stress and the adrenal glands. So let's get started with that. Let me just get my screen where I can see something over here. Okay. So the adrenal glands right here, they sit near the anatomical center of the body, and they are the glands that help us to cope with stressful situations. The adrenaline rush is associated with adventure, danger, excitement, as well as stress, anxiety, and burnout. So sometimes we feel good about having an adrenaline rush. I love to ride roller coasters. I like adventure. I like zip lining. I like riding motorcycles. I love that feeling, right? So that's it's kind of fun sometimes. But when we're in that danger, or we're in constant stress and anxiety and things like that, then we can cause the adrenal to be very depleted and to burn out. It can cause a lot of issues. So these are glands of adaptation. So what does that mean? That means it's going to help us in bad things, and it gives us a rush associated with adventure and feelings of, just even when you're excited, those kind of things. So, and then we're going to, the celiac, solar plexus. This is a plexus of nerves around the area of the adrenal glands and stomach under the sternum between the ribs. It affects the breathing, digestion, and numerous autonomic processes. The autonomic is things that we do without thinking about it. It just does it. That's the autonomic nervous system, right? So it affects breathing. All right. It affects our breathing, and it affects a lot of things. Getting punched in this area can cause breathing problems. You've ever heard of that feeling, getting the wind knocked out of you, right? I know I have when I was young. um, so the solar plexus is the area around in the navel area, right in the middle. And this is the center. This is being centered or balanced, okay? It is the energy associated with being centered and balanced internally. It is the anatomical center of the body. So this is the place where the emotional, physical, and mental worlds, all three, come together, are integrated, right at the solar plexus. This is another area that gives us that will, that drive, and things like that. So that's something very important to take care of, that solar plexus. But all energy centers, some people call them chakras. It's important to keep those in a great balance through breathing, exercise, meditation. Meditation, however you meditate. I meditate, meditating on good things, positive things, where God is sending me. This is my time, and meditation is when I can sit and really try to listen to what God is saying to me. What direction is He giving me? Holy Spirit, right? So you can't have that connection unless you're grounded and centered, and you've got to take time to do these things. We have to take time. This is not something that's a luxury. This is a necessity. This is more important than medication, okay? Taking this time to center yourself, know how you feel, know your body, and get in tune with what's around you, so you can open your mind and your heart and your gut area to hear what is God saying. So the gut instinct, whoops, the solar plexus is the home of gut instinct, right there. The solar plexus tenses when things are wrong. That is where there's danger, or there's an imbalance. That's where we get that. You hear the saying that I got this gut feeling, right? Well, that's where it is. That's where you're feeling it. I like to say the gut is where you hear God's utterance, right? But if your gut isn't doing right, you're not going to hear too much. So that's where the physical, mental, emotional, all that got to be in balance, right? And so it relaxes when things are safe and in harmony, right? So when things are safe and in harmony, and let me tell you, when we're talking about that, it's things how we perceive things too, but we'll talk about that a little later. Not being in touch with our gut instincts can result in digestive and respiratory problems, as well as emotional and physical stress. That's deep. Just that little, what I just said there, that's deep right there. Not being in touch with our gut instinct can result in digestive and respiratory problems, as well as emotional and physical stress. And it goes around like a circle, because I'm going to tell you, if you're under the emotional and physical stress and not even understanding what that is, then all of this is going to happen too. So it goes in like a cycle, right? So where does the cycle, where do you start? Well, I'm always going to start. I do start at the gut on the physical level. What do we need to do? How's that digestive looking? But I also want to see what is that emotional and that emotional thought and emotional state. What's going on there? Where are you stuck? What's going on there? So this is very, very important. This right here is like a domino effect. If this is out of order, all organs and all things are going to be somewhat out of order. It might not be to a bad place, but they're out of order. It's like a domino effect. It is affecting other areas as well. All right, let me see if I can't come down. Okay, I went down too far. Sorry, give me 1 second here. I'm trying to manipulate my screen, and it's a little difficult here. Okay, there we go. So being scattered, weaknesses in the adrenal solar plexus causes a person's energy to be scattered, like all over the place. They're unable to pull themselves together. And they tend to run to and fro, putting out fires rather than being able to stay in control of their own life and goals. A strong solar plexus, adrenal energy, helps you to act on your life rather than just react. So we want to act actions other instead of reacting. And how do we do that? So that's why everything has to be in a balance in order to even accomplish that. Let me tell you, let me tell you, we're all, as long as we are breathing, living on this earth, we are working on something. Nobody has arrived, because if we have arrived and we have become what God intended us, wants us to be, and have arrived at that, then it's time for him to take us home. You know what I'm saying? So we have not arrived, and every day we must be doing things to work on a betterment of ourselves and who we are and who God has wanted us to be, who he intended us to be. See, sometimes we don't follow what he intended for us, right? We chose it. We chose our own path. And so we have to go up this mountaintop. We got to go around and around and around, when we could have gone from point A to point B if we just followed him. But it's okay, because even though we're going around and around, there's a lot of lessons to learn in the process of the pain, and things like, there's a lot of lessons to learn. So with that being said, it's very important that we are able to act on our life rather than just reacting to things. Okay. The solar plexus energy and the adrenals, people with a strong adrenal gland stay calm in crisis, are able to stay calm in crisis. When the adrenal glands become tired and weak from chronic stress, people feel unable to cope with life. They just can't bear it. They just can't take it no more. So when you see a person like, I'm just so tired, just can't do this anymore, then know that those adrenal glands are very, very weak, and there's like a burnout. So it's going to take some time to rejuvenate that area, to bring them up. So at this point, when we're talking on the physical level, we have to work on those things before we can even pretty much work on those emotions. So it's like, see, a good example is like, when we're witnessing to people, right? We're witnessing the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? So if you see someone on the street and they're homeless and they don't have any food, no money, we can't just go say God is good all the time, and all the time he is good, and this is how to get saved. We have to reach them at a physical level first, right? We have to feed them. We have to feed them and show love and kindness, and then we can start, working with them, pulling them. They trust you, and then they start pulling things and helping them. It's one step at a time, and you're working on all those levels, the emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. All of those are working, but in different situations, you have to know where to start. You have to know what to do for a person. So that's very important. So if they're in a position where they just feel like this life is over, they don't have hope, it's done, then we have to work on the physical and building them up. That's strengthening those adrenal glands, and those adrenal glands sit right on the kidneys. So that's something else I would be working on as well. So they're not able to adapt to the changing conditions of life. So that's with the weak adrenals. So another health issues with the solar plexus: stomach problems. Now hear this on the emotional level. With stomach problems, that's a feeling of just, I can't digest this life. I just can't digest it. I can't do it. Right? I just can't do it. Isn't that amazing to think like that, And then it manifests in the physical, in stomach issues, inflammation, poor digestion, all those things. Adrenal fatigue, can't adapt to the life's changes. Kidney weaknesses, fear that make it difficult to have a backbone to take a stand. This is, these are not cliche. These are not just words. This is real. When people have kidney issues, they are not able to take a stand, to stand up for themselves. I think this is so profound. I think people need to understand that we are just not a body walking around physical, go to the doctor and say, here, take a drug, take a prescription, take this and that for this inflammation, itis, arthritis, this itis, inflammation, all of that. We have to get to the very roots of the situation. And those roots are looking at these energy centers, where are they connected to, and how to free up those energy centers. So if you have a circuit breaker in your home and you have a lot of wires connected there and something happens and it trips the thing, you have no more electricity, right? Well, same thing in those energy centers, that we need to unblock unblock those centers, so that things, the electricity and the energy can flow, so all can work together like a symphony. That's how the body's set up, to work like a symphony. We are electric, we are energy. Because if a person's heart stops, what do? They take the electric thing, the paddles, and they bring you back, like they jump start a car. Same thing, that's what they do to the heart. So we are energy. Okay. I know some people in the I don't know, I say Christian world, religious world, whatever. Some people say, oh, what is she talking about? Chakras. What is she talking about? Energy. Because that is what they are, energy. People call them different things, but nonetheless, God created their energy centers. And this is how we're made. And this is how we have to clear some things so that things can flow properly. Because we can't, medication isn't going to clear anything and help you, heal you. It will help to balance a situation for a particular time. But while you're on that and getting in balance, what are you doing to change, and what are you doing to heal and turn the body in the direction it needs to go? That's so important to understand that. It also, health issues there causes nervous system problems, chronic stress and anxiety, muscle twitching or shaking, insomnia. Man, insomnia is like major in this country, in America. It's amazing. Insomnia, not able to sleep, and extreme fatigue, tension and anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. Wow, that's a lot. It's a lot. And this all affects, so if these things here are coming from not having a strong, that solar plexus is not being taken care of, not being nourished, right? And it could be it can cause a hiatal hernia and tension at the solar plexus, which causes difficulty assimilating protein and minerals, shallow breathing, chest pains, heart palpitations, gas, and bloating. These are all things. And this stuff left unattended and ignored and just taking medications and taking a bunch of antacids, which is opposite of what we're trying to do for the healing. It's not good. This can lead to some very major issues later in life. Things don't start showing up. Our emotions and the issues tied to the tissues, they don't really start showing up in the form of disease until around 40, between 40s and 50s. Then things start, and then the doctor will say, oh, you're getting older. No, that's not what's happening. I know people in their 80s that can still roller skate, that can play tennis, that can do a whole lot of things because they take care of themselves. And they don't dwell on negative issues. They love life. They want to live life to the fullest. It's so important to live life to the fullest. Do things that you love to do. Pleasure, we'll talk about that shortly. But I want to go into the 3 stages of stress. So the 3 stages of stress, stage 1 is the alarm phase, where the medulla in the brain triggers that sympathetic nervous system. Okay, it triggers that. The hypothalamus and the pituitary release ACTH to stimulate the adrenal cortex. Then stage 2, the resistance stage, is where a person resists situations triggering feelings of stress. resisting, right? Not see when situations come up, and they're going to come. There's going to be. I'm telling you, just this week I've had. I felt like I was like fighting all kind of things in the galaxy. Things were coming at me, boom, boom, boom. But I just stood my ground, and I just stayed. I just looked at it, and just I could deal with what I needed to deal with, and let go of things that were not necessary to deal with. Because also, you have to understand, don't be reactive to things, because you've got to understand that people are, when they talk negative or they speak negative, that they are operating from a different place, and it's not about you that they're really coming after. It's about themselves. And when we learn to really articulate that and understand that, we can see people a whole different way. We can see things in a different light. And I still have to we you have to practice that forever until Jesus take us home, because there are times that there could be some triggers. Somebody can say, do something to trigger you. But I am definitely telling you, I'm here. I'm a work in progress. I feel I've come a very long way, because I used to be very reactive, but I understood that it was going to take me out of here if I didn't change, if I didn't do some things. So, I don't react like that. I'm very, very careful. Why? Because I want to guard my heart, my physical heart, my spiritual heart, all of that. I want to guard. I want boundaries around me. I don't want to allow things to come in to stress me out. I'm really, really working toward that, and I feel I've come a very long way. I have a long way to go, but I've come a pretty long way, and I thank God that He showed me this and had me learn these things, and the techniques that I do to help people to overcome emotional, wherever you're stuck, and those kind of things. So I'm very excited. I'm very happy to be called into this ministry that God. It's a ministry for me, because I'm just very passionate to see people change on that. Once they change in that emotional and that level of thought and emotion, spiritual level, you start seeing the manifestations in the physical, and it's such a beautiful thing to see that. So we were talking about the resistance stage. So yes, the nutrients are start to become depleted, and sleep may not be disturbed. Persons start to tire. Oh, sleep may be disturbed. So a lot of people, I don't know. I'm talking to people all over, but in the DMV here where we are, that's Maryland, Virginia, and DC, Washington DC, is a very stressful place, especially in like if you have to go to work every day, it's getting in traffic, trying to get to work on time. Those are very stressful situations. And people tell me all the time, I'm running late because the traffic is bumper to bumper and those kind of things. So I have to allow, things for the people to get here. But it's just a lot. And sitting in traffic can be very, very stressful. But you can turn that around and put on a beautiful song, that's what I do. If I have to, I don't go out in the traffic a lot, but when I do, I will put on maybe a word I want to hear, something, something positive. So while I'm really engaged in that, before you know it, I'm where I am, because I'm so engaged in what I'm listening to. So those kind of, you want to change some things of how you deal with the stress. Don't let that get to you, and don't react, because you can't change it. You have to go along with it. You have to be able to adapt, because you're in the traffic, right? I'm just using that as an example of anything in life. And then stage 3 is that exhaustion stage. Nutrients become severely depleted, glands become weakened, and person feels burned out, severe fatigue during the day, poor quality of sleep at night, and it's just a vicious cycle. I see this all the time in people. I'm sorry, let me go right here. Okay. So, acute stress reaction. Perceived danger Perceived danger stimulates the hypothalamus to release the CRH and the vasopressin. This stimulates the pituitary. See how this is? This is perceiving danger. We don't even know if it is danger. So now the hypothalamus And then we go down, stimulates the pituitary to release the ACTH. Then we go down to the ACTH to stimulate the adrenals to release the cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. All right. And then cortisol inhibits the release of the CRH and the ACTH. And this is known as the HPA axis, hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, right? So the hypothalamus in the brain, the pituitary, and the adrenal. When I do scans, when I work, do the balance scan, when I work with people, when I see the stress levels are high, it's automatically you're seeing the hypothalamus is way out, the pituitary, and sometimes the pineal gland, and those adrenals. Absolutely. And this is the stress response right here, right? This is a cycle. And then, so you have the alarm phase reaction, stress response, fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze, right? And you know about that's what adrenaline does. That's like if, let's say a child was running out, running out to the street, and a mom just gets a whole lot of strength. Yeah, all of a sudden, just that's the adrenaline pumping up in her, and she's able to run and grab that child's and don't know where the strength came from. That's that adrenaline has pumped up to a point, but you got to have a recovery phase too. So phase one, normal phase one recovery, right? The body's going to reacts to difficulty, and then we rebound here, and then we have to have a time of recovery. If you don't have that time of recovery, and you're constantly here and here, here and here and here, to get stuck and never here, that's when it becomes a problem, and that's when the adrenals get burned out. So that's something that has to go through this phase of recovery. Okay. Phase two, resistance stage. And ongoing stressful events. When stressful events occur repeatedly without enough recovery time in between them, we enter phase two to the resistant phase. We're getting tired, but we continue to work to try to fix the problems we are facing. Boy, this is a familiar story, right? This often involves losing sleep, eating poorly, and using stimulants to keep ourselves going. Let me tell you, I had a beautiful client that was coming to me for a couple of months. She had 4-stage cancer. I don't think she knew the extent that she had it. We were working with her, but she was doing she was doing the chemo and radiation and all of that. And I was working with her with different modalities, and she always felt wonderful when she came in here. And when she would come in here looking so weak, bent over, and the last time I saw her, she couldn't even walk. I literally had to lift her up on my massage table to do the raindrop therapy. But let me tell you, when she left here, she was walking out by herself. It was a beautiful thing. And unfortunately, that was the last time I saw her because of the other things that she was going through. It was too strong for her, I believe, whatever. But what I also know is that she was working while she was going through all of that. She was working, and I tell people, when the body needs rest, when the body is saying rest, you can't go through this resisting. You can't resist that. Let me tell you, whatever job you do, you're working for somebody, working for yourself, but if you're working for somebody or a corporation or whatever, they don't care. I'm being real with you. They can be the best buddy, be your best friend, whatever. As long as you're making them money, we can be best friends. As long as you're bringing in the money and you're doing what you're supposed to do. But let me tell you, if you get sick and to the point that you can't work anymore, let me tell you, tomorrow the job will be taken. So they have somebody in there, and that's the truth. It's a hard reality to think like that. But when we work so hard, like a hamster on a wheel, going absolutely nowhere and taking our health down, that's not good. Your health is your wealth. And I tell people, when you get in a bad situation, when you get into life and death situation, because this stuff, what I'm talking about, leads to that. Okay, it definitely leads to cancer. This creates a very, very environment, a very acidic environment that can bring on cancer. Because if you're resisting your body and you're resisting things, then your body is going to go into a self-destruct mode, and that's what cancer is. Self-destruction. That's what it's the cells are like. They're getting out of control. The bad cells are growing out of control, and then the body's like, it's trying to just attack itself. That's like with a lot of autoimmune issues, right? And so it's very, very important to know when this body needs rest. You got to let it go. You got to just say, look, I got to lay down. I've got to give rest. So I know if people work 5 days a week, but then you go and you work. I mean, you go out and run the streets all weekend, right? And you don't get any rest. That's not good. That's just not a good, it's not good for you. I've had to change my ways because let me tell you, I'm calling the kettle black, okay? Because when I take multitasking to a whole nother level. I don't even want to go into all of what I do, but I do a lot. But I have learned in probably the last 2 years, that when I feel like I'm getting so stressed, overstressed, I gotta step back, and I gotta say, this is what I can do, and this is what I cannot do. And a lot of times, because I own two businesses, so I put the stress on myself because I feel like I got to go, go, go. But no, not anymore. I cut my time on certain things, and I say, I can only go to this time. I need some rest in between here, and then I go to the next thing. And I'm very careful as well as how I schedule clients. Now, there are times that I get overwhelmed. There's times that I get a lot, have a lot going on. But, for the most part, I get my rest and I'm able to recover. I go through that recovery stage, and I take a lot of things to help my adrenals to adaptogen herbs to help me deal with the stress. So that's important as well. So we do not want to, be losing the sleep. You got to eat right. You got to get your sleep. You've got to do you don't want to use stimulants. You don't want to do none of that. That stuff will cause you to crash, eventually crash. Burnout or nervous exhaustion. You see that? Trying to make it, because there's no sleep at night. Symptoms of nervous exhaustion: um, restless sleep with disturbed dreams, waking up frequently at night or other disturbed sleep patterns, tired during the day, chronically exhausted. No matter what you do, you're exhausted. Feeling confused, forgetful, and emotionally sensitive. Pulsing pupils is a sign. Quivering tongue, loss of sex drive, feeling like you just can't take it anymore. Chronic feelings of nervousness and anxiousness, trembling fingers, unsteady hands. Now, let's say a person has um, that trembling fingers, unsteady hands. I've seen it in people, and doctors will automatically want to give a diagnosis. Well, how about if we just look at, does the nervous system need some nourishment? Did you able to drink some water? Drink amount of water that you need to do. A lot of things. If we try things, it will help the body to fix itself. We can't look for a pill for everything. Have to do some changing the diet, eating more, maybe fresh fruits and vegetables raw, and maybe more like antioxidant type fruits and those kind of things, and drinking your water, a good water, and making sure that your water is in a BPA free bottle, because you don't want toxins leaching from the plastics into the water. You drink good water. That feeling shaky inside, constantly being on alert, unable to relax or unwind, just that tense, just the mind just going too much. Chronic inflammation or autoimmune reactions. That's right. This can all lead to that, autoimmune issues. So we got to learn how to handle stress effectively. So we need to take a lesson from nature, right? The brittles cone, um, pine cones, pine trees, I'm sorry, are the oldest known plants on the planet. They grow, watch this now. They grow in poor soil and under very harsh conditions. But they grow, their wood is very strong and they have a rugged beauty, right? We just gotta you gotta know how to handle the stress. They are made to handle that stress, these trees. And we have to take a lesson from that, and we have to be able to be strong inside and strengthen that solar plexus, strengthen the whole energy centers. It's very important. And okay, I'm sorry. Stress and performance. This is all the levels of stress here. Depressed way down here. Then you come up, excited, energized, focused right here, focused with life, balanced. See right here? Challenges come, we get overwhelmed, stressed, we start depleting. If we can't stay right here, even when challenges come, you can stay there. But you have to be mentally, you have to choose these things. You have to make choices, and everything in life is about a choice, right? And that's so important to understand that I've had, like I said, for the last 2 days, I've had a very, very stressful situation came about. And I decided, I'm not engaging in that. I'm going to stand back. I'm going to let people talk, say what they want to say. And I'm still made my decision that's best for me, right? I had to let some things go, let somebody go. I had to make that decision because I'm not going to go around this cycle over and over again, And let me tell you, today I felt liberated from making that decision. So sometimes decisions are not easy, but you gotta look at things. You got to stay focused and stay balanced. Because if you allow people to run you, this is where you're going to be here, up sometimes, and down here. You cannot allow that. You've got to guard your heart and your mind and your spirit. So stress begins with perception. So that's what I was saying. It's perceived, right? Most modern stress isn't physical. It's mental and emotional in nature. Stress chemicals are released whenever the brain perceives a stressful experience. The stress may be associative in nature, but not real, right? It's what we think. Sometimes we have a tendency to think the worst. A thought comes or something, and we're just thinking, go, 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 and we've created a situation that's not even there. And that's what we have to stand back from. That's why the Bible says pray about everything. Pray without ceasing. Because thoughts come to our mind. We have to be constantly casting down those negative thoughts that are coming. You're not good enough. You can't do this. Why are you doing it? And all this kind of stuff can cause a lot of stress. Right? And so I'm here today by the power of the Holy Spirit. Believe me, I don't speak in front of people, but God has put it in me He gave me information that needs to be shared. And I'm not trying to win an award to be a public speaker, but I know this information needs to come out. And so I pray that you are learning something from this radio show. I intend to be doing it, for a while, for a long, till God says different. But I hope you are learning something from this. I'd like to get some feedback. If you want to call my number at 240-695-6677. Let me see if anyone, okay. No. Or you can even text me at that number as well to ask a question. I'm working with this station. This is very, very new to me, and I'm learning every week. I'm learning a little something different. So bear with me. One day it'll be be a lot different. I'll know a lot. So, yes. So, we want to change your perception and you change your stress level when we change our thought process. Let me see this go down here. I also work with people on perception reframing because we go through life with unforgiveness, resentment, and unforgiveness, and we do not understand what that person was really coming from or what their circumstances were. You know what I mean? We just had in our mind what we perceived, and it might not have been that at all. And so then the body takes that on. But guess what happens? Whatever you perceive was going on with the person, you're causing stress within yourself because your body only has memory, your cells only have memory about you. So let's say you're talking about, whatever, anger at somebody, talking about things, then the body's taking that in. And we have to think about that. I have to think about that all day long because sometimes, I go there, I do go there, and then I have to pray and say, God, what did I just do? And I renounce that. I say, God, forgive me. If I let this person still trigger me or whatever, and I just have to let things go. People are going to be people who they are, and that's how we have to understand, and we cannot let that affect us. So that's something I'm still in process. I'm in progress with that. Letting that go. Let people be who they are and understand that's who they are, but I don't have to allow it into my space. Don't have to. And I don't have to be reactive to what they say or what they do or whatever. I don't have to, because they're in their space. They can't come in my space. And then, life is happy because we're responsible for our happiness. So a profound idea, what makes you happy or unhappy is not the world and the people around you, but it's the thinking inside your head as well. Right? That's from Anthony DeMello, The Way to Love. Most people don't dare to give themselves that choice because they think it's not under their control. Someone might say, well, of course I want to be happy, but my wife left me. In other words, they want to be happy, but if their wife leaves them, they can't. They're not going to be happy if. Sure, we're going to go through some painful situations in life. People go through, divorce and those kind of, we go through some painful, but we still have the choice to make ourselves happy and do the work that it takes. We can't stay in defeat. You can't stay there. If somebody left, whatever, then that wasn't meant for you. That wasn't for you. That means that God has something better for you. Right. And so, we have to think on that positive way. And what do we do to get out of that? You have to get around like-minded people, of who you want to be. So you want to be a world changer, then you have to be around people who are, who want the same thing. And what are the strategies and are actually doing actions to get there. Right. And so I have friends that are come a long way. But I feel like in groups, as a group, especially my admin team, God just put us all together. We're all different. Everybody got their own expertise. It's such a beautiful team, the BAM team that I have, that they all have something to share. Like Wednesday night, all three of us got to speak because Avis was giving her presentation and I had a question for Melissa because she's my science person and she can pretty much answer any question. So we just had a great time. It was such a beautiful time, and so that was ordained by God. That He brought that team together. I didn't go out looking, oh, I'm going to make a team. COVID happened, and just things started happening, and it was so beautiful. So when you're around that type of people and you're in like-minded, moving forward, always ready to move forward, be flexible, be adaptable, be able to change maker, be able to change too. That's important. Then you can know how to deal with stress. And I'll tell you, it's going to be a lot less stress on your body and on your mind. That's very important. Setting conditions on happiness. You don't really mean it when you say you're willing to be happy. You want to qualify it. You want to say, as long as this doesn't happen or as long as that doesn't happen, then you're willing to be happy. And that's why it seems like it's out of your control. But any condition you create will limit your happiness. Happiness is not on a condition. You got to choose. To attain true inner freedom, you must be able to objectively watch your problems instead of being lost in them. You see the problem around you. You can get a solution. You have to write some things down of things that you want to see in the next, that's what I try to do. I try to write down, what do I want to see before the end of this year? Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? But as long as I'm lining up with what God says, that's very important. Is that I could want a lot of things, but what does He want? So I don't feel good unless I'm lined up with Him. If I say, oh, I want to do this, and I want to be over here, I want to move, I want to do this, and God is not saying to move. He is not giving me that clearance to move. So I have to stay. I have to stay when He says stay, and I got to go when He says go. And that's very important. So being in tune with the gut, the solar plexus, is going to help you be able to hear what He's saying, clearly saying as well. That all is connected, I'm telling you. No solution can possibly exist while you're lost in the problem. Everyone knows you can't deal with the situation if you're getting anxious, scared, or angry about it. The first problem you have to deal with is your own reaction. That's what I was saying. I'm a work in progress when it comes to for this. But I'm doing because I do counseling. I do get my counseling. I counsel people, but I get counseling. It's important for me. I look forward to it. I need it because it helps me to get in a balance myself. I need balance. We all need balance. So not because I'm here in front of people teaching them about balance, teaching you, I need to be doing it too. And I am working on doing a lot. I'm doing a lot, working in that direction, and I feel so great. And that's why I'm able at this point to even come before you, because I can, tell you that I've been through some things and I'm working through some things. And God is so great in helping me. And Holy Spirit is a guide. He will lead and guide and direct you every time. If you just ask for the help, He will help you. So the first, you have to deal with your own reaction. You'll not be able to solve anything outside until you own how the situation affects you in the inside. That's Soul by Michael Singer wrote that quote. Let's see. Unpleasant, oh, unpleasant situations and people. See, now keep looking at this unpleasant situation or person until you realize that it isn't they are causing the negative emotions. They are just going their way, being themselves. That's what I was saying, doing their thing, whether right or wrong, good or bad. It is your computer that determines if they're doing. It's your brain. I'm sorry. It's your computer that, thanks to your programming, insists on your reactions with negative emotions. You will see this better if you realize that someone with a different programming, when faced with the same situation or person or event, would react quite calmly, even happily. Don't stop until you have grasped this truth. That's right. Do not stop until you have grasped this truth. The only reason why you two are not reacting calmly and happily is that your computer that is stubbornly insisting that the reality be reshaped to conform to its programming. Now, right there, where I could say so much about that. But I'm going to stop here. I didn't realize we're out of time. I got a lot to share, but I have to stop there right now. But what I want you to leave with is that know that your feelings and how you react to your stressful situations is going to determine on a physical level, right? Because our feelings buried alive never die. They will show up in the form of disease. They will show up. That's a root. That is one of the very roots, is where's the thought. I'm telling you, people sit in front of me. Oh, my back, this hurt. I got inflammation, and the doctor said I got this, and then I mean, there's just so much going on, and they probably got a bag full of medications, and I'm looking at, well, do you even know what these are? And three of them are for high blood pressure. I'm like, why are you on three high blood pressure Oh, because this one wasn't working. This one they added this to this, and this, and I'm like, hold up. I said, put it all back in the bag, honey. Put those medicines back in the bag. You continue to take them because I didn't put you on them, so I can't take you off of them. You continue that, but I want to get to the heart of the matter. What are you holding on to? What are you not letting go of in the heart? What are you not letting go of? And we go deep. And I'm telling you, people don't leave here. They be crying. They don't, I go deep with that. I'm also a holistic iridologist. So when I go into those eyes, I'm able to see a lot of things where these organs or weaknesses are and the thought and emotion tied to those things. And it's deep. It's really deep. And this is no time, especially in the time we're living in now. We got to be so conscious. Raise your awareness. Raise your consciousness that we are responsible for our health, and good health is your choice. It's your choice. You know, I had a very devastating call this morning. Somebody that, in our family, not my family, but my grandchildren's family, um, was a very shocking news that I got today. It wasn't so shocking because for years and years in the past, I've tried to help them. I really did try to do all I could do, and we're here. I didn't expect to be at this where we are, but it is what it is. And, I'm praying. I need prayer. So if you guys could just pray for my family, my grandchildren, it's actually their grandfather on their dad's side. Um, I'm just dealing with a lot of stuff, dealing with a lot of things, but my reaction was, I wish I could help. I wish that he would have listened, and I tell a lot of people that, I wish when you knew me and I was telling you things back at this point, I wish that you had listened to something, because then you might not be at this point right now. So that's all. That's just food for thought. I thank you all for coming on and listening. I pray that you are learning something each week. Please share this information with people, and I will get on my website about my Zoom call. I don't want to say what day that is in December, because I'm not sure, but next week I will know that for sure, and I'll be able to tell you the date for the Zoom call. And that is also found on my website. So my phone number to the Healing Corner is 240-695-6677. And my website is drbhealingcorner.com. And you'll see a lot of information there. My email is also drbhealingcorner@gmail.com. So any of those ways you'll be able to contact me, reach me, or talk to me. You could text me on that number as well, 240-695-6677. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. God bless all of you. I pray healing, wellness, and peace, blessings, and a joyous Thanksgiving for next week. The happy Thanksgiving. I will be on Friday night, but I just wish you all just have a great time with your family. I pray for all of you. God bless you, and thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you so much.